Hi all, this is Alessandro at Sonora Cinematic. Today I'm really excited to show you our brand new library, Atlas Flutes. Atlas Flutes was made in collaboration with German film composer Christoph Zirngibl, who originally asked us to produce this library for his score to the hugely successful animation feature Me and Me, the Hero of Centopia. It was actually in cinemas right now, at least here in the UK. The library is a collection of woodwinds that focuses on short, almost percussive and textural articulations, and is at least partially inspired by the work of legendary film composer James Horner. Enough talking, let's have a listen to the 6 main instruments featured in Atlas Flutes. So here's Atlas Flutes. I have the Caval instrument open with the staccatissimo articulation, which I personally believe it best represents what I've been trying to do with Atlas Flutes, and here's a very fast percussive passage. As you can tell, Atlas Flutes is great at these sort of passages, which is also the reason why I sequenced this one, because I wanted to make something very fast and rhythmically precise, and I'm a pretty horrible keyboard player. Let me give you a very quick tour of the interface. So you have all the articulation here, which are also key switchable. You have a room mic, a closed mic, which we'll hear in a second. You have some reverb and a delay, a basic envelope with attack and release. You have a bit of a transient shaper, which I think it works really well with the very short articulations. If you really want to bring the attack of the transient out, you have some expression and some dynamic that only works with the flutter. You have the special release note on flutter, which basically switches between nothing on release, but if you want to end the flutter on something, you have that downbeat. And then if you go on the effects, you have basic settings for the reverb and delay. A pretty cool thing about the reverb and delay is that if you're using an external reverb or delay plugin, as I guess most professional composer will end up doing, you don't need to go in the background and bypass it. As long as they are all the way down, as the sends are all the way down, they are completely bypassed and you save on CPU. Let's talk a second about the round robins available. So you can go back here and select staccatissimo, and you'll see that you have 2 round robins mode. The first one is random, which actually uses a special algorithm that makes sure that round robins are not repeated in sequence, and that the same round robins that has been used is not repeated until the entire pool of available round robins has been exploited entirely. And if you go on sequence, is your traditional round robin mode, where round robins 1 to 7 or whatever they are available depending on the instrument and the articulations are played in sequence. Let's listen to the different mic positions completely dry. I think it's very important. This was recorded in a fairly small hall, so it's a very intimate control sound. Is the room mic. And now let's listen to the closed mic, which has a lot more detail, so you can have a nice mix of the two together. It's a very detailed sound, and here's with the reverb again. And another thing that I like to test libraries with is with other external reverbs, because as of that, I reckon most composers will actually want to do this. So this with Cinematic Room, which is a rather popular choice. And here's with 7/7, which is a Bricasti M7 emulation. I really love this Sunset Chamber preset. I use it a lot for sort of drier, more intimate sounds. Now let's go back to the original setting, and I'm going to guide you through all the different articulations and instruments. So let's start with Marcato. staccato, quite a good dynamic range, and you hear there is a lot of attack in the staccato articulation. We've been listening to the staccatissimo up until now. And then you have the swells in 3 different lengths: long, medium, short, which are obviously very fun to use in combination with the shorts. I'm going to give you an example in a second. Then you have sforzatos, long, medium, shorts, and then you have the flutters, which we briefly demonstrated earlier on. Let's get rid of the release note on flutter. You can combine it with a bit of expression for greater control. And the release note on flutter triggers different ending notes depending on the dynamic layer it has been playing. So up here or down here. As I said, it's quite interesting to combine these different swells with the staccatissimo patterns, so you can get some very snappy, interesting rhythmic effects. So let's do that. I'm going to use this sequence that I did before. And then we can put a little key switch. Let's maybe do a swell short, and then we can do something like this. And I think the length will be about this long. Let's see how it sounds. It's quite nice to have like a little riser before the rhythmic effect. And then maybe you can put a little sforzando on the same note at the end rather than the last note. Something like this. Let's put another little key switch. And by the way, when we'll explore performance mode in a second, you'll see that there is a way easier way to program this kind of stuff. But this is for the traditional articulations. Let's keep moving and explore the other instruments. Here's the West African flute. Let's hear the staccato. The staccatissimo. Swells long. Swell medium. And the shorts. The interesting thing about all these instruments is that when it comes to word flutes, you don't have the same level of control, or the musician doesn't have the same level of control as the orchestral Western flutes. So you get these articulations that are quite different between each other depending on the instrument that you're playing, mostly because we have quite a few limitations depending on the range and the amount of pitches that are actually possible on each instrument. Let's listen to the sforzatos. Medium. Short. And then for the West African flutes, you actually have 2 different types of flutter. And here's the soft. Let's move to the alto flute. So let's start with the marcato. Then staccato. Staccatissimo. Then all the swells in long, medium, and short. Medium. Short. Then for the alto flute, you have different jet tones, which are quite interesting. So here's down. Let's get the delay down for this one. It's a special overblowing technique, which I really love. It's really characteristic of flutes. Lot of air there. And then let's listen to the flutters. Let's put the release note on. And then we have some very cool slap tongues for the alto flute. Let's move to the bass flute. Marcatos. I love this bottom range here. Staccato. And staccatissimo. The swells. The short. Then the jet tones. Sforzados. Medium. Sforzados short. Then the flutters again with the release note on. And off. For the bass flute, we also have some effects. Let's hear them. And these are some interesting variations of the swells. And then again the slap tongues, which sound really good on the bass flute. Let's move to the panpipes. Start with marcato. Staccato. Staccatissimo. Then some swells. Shorts. And long. Now let's move to the sforzados. Medium. Short. And finally, last but not least, the Kenacho. Staccato. Staccatissimo. Some swells. Swells medium. Short. And then the sforzandos. On top of the main articulations that we're covering now for all the instruments, we also recorded some pretty incredible textural improvisations for the caval and bass flute only. I'm going to leave those for another video, and if you really want to watch it right away, you can click over here, or I'll put the link here in the description below. Now let's talk about the performance mode, something that I believe will improve your workflow considerably. Let's have a look. Let's go back to our caval instrument to demonstrate this. Performance mode is actually a very powerful feature of Atlas Flute, which I really love. It really speeds up the way you can program this kind of stuff. Basically, at the press of a button, all the articulations are automatically remapped, and you can use one single keyboard mapping to trigger all the different short articulations with their corresponding swells and sforzandos. The way this works is that now you can define the pitch that is going to be played using the left part of the keyboard, labeled in blue over here, and then the right part of the keyboard you can use to trigger the different articulations. So on the wide notes, you have the different round robins of marcatos, staccato, and staccatissimo. And then on the black notes, you have the swells and the sforzandos of the corresponding length to the short note that you're triggering. So for example, the marcato will have the swell long next to it, or the sforzando long. Then same with the swell medium and the staccato, sforzando medium, staccato. And then the swell short and the staccato and the staccatissimo, and then the swell short and the staccatissimo. And the cool thing is that in performance mode, all the swells are tempo synced, and they last different amounts of beats depending if they are long, medium, or short. So for example, this is a short. If I bring my tempo session all the way down to, say, 70, this follows suit, and is going to last exactly the same amount of beats. Let's demonstrate this. So now in my caval in performance mode, I have here the sequence prepare, which is triggering a sharp, which is a short as well. And then I have a 16 notes sequence. And now, if I want to move my host tempo, let's say we can bring it out to 90, this stays in time. And maybe I want to trigger a medium one instead. And again, if I bring my tempo back up to 120. Very easy. I really hope you enjoy this library. I hope it inspires you to create beautiful music. Atlas Flutes is available right now at sonoracinematic.com for an intro price, and it's fully NKS compatible and available for the free version of Kontakt Player. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.